You have spent money on this sport. Maybe a lot of money. And almost none of it bought you what you actually needed. The cycling industry sells you grams. Lighter frames, stiffer carbon, ceramic bearings. And while you were chasing grams, you were sitting on top of the single biggest performance gain available to any cyclist on Earth. For free. 80% of the aerodynamic drag on a moving bicycle comes from the rider. Not the frame, not the wheels, not the helmet. The rider. This is file 017. The file on the fastest free speed in cycling. And why the industry that profits from selling you equipment has very little interest in telling you about it. At 30 kilometers per hour on a flat road, roughly 80% of the power you produce goes directly into fighting air resistance. Not road friction, not mechanical losses, air resistance. That percentage rises as speed increases. At 40 kilometers per hour, it is closer to 90%. The faster you ride, the more completely air resistance dominates everything else. Aerodynamic drag is calculated using a value called CDA. CD is the drag coefficient, how aerodynamically shaped an object is. A is the frontal area, how much space that object takes up when moving through the air. A professional Tour de France rider in an aggressive aerodynamic position has a CDA of roughly 0.22. The same rider sitting upright has a CDA of roughly 0.38. That difference is larger than switching from the heaviest frame available to the lightest. In 2019, a team of sports scientists published a study in the International Journal of Sports Physiology and Performance. They measured the aerodynamic benefit of position changes against the aerodynamic benefit of equipment upgrades. The results were not subtle. Lowering the torso by 10 degrees, moving from a relaxed endurance position to a more aggressive aero position, save an average of 23 watts at 40 kilometers per hour. 23 watts. For context, a set of deep section carbon wheels, the most popular aerodynamic upgrade in amateur cycling, saves between 3 and 8 watts at the same speed, and costs between 1,000 and 4,000 euros. A lighter frame, dropping 500 grams, which is considered significant, saves approximately 1 watt on a flat road. 1. The position change saves 23. An Aero helmet, the single most visible aerodynamic product in the amateur market, saves between 3 and 6 watts, and is sold specifically on the promise of making you faster. It does make you faster. Just not as fast as sitting differently on a bicycle you already own. So what actually changes when a cyclist moves from an upright position to an aerodynamic one? And why don't most amateur cyclists do it? The answer to the second question explains a great deal about the first. The primary aerodynamic variable is torso angle. The more horizontal your back, the smaller your frontal area, the less air you push out of the way, the faster you go with the same power output. This is not complicated physics. It is extremely uncomfortable to maintain. Maintaining a flat back requires hip flexibility that most people have to train specifically. It requires core strength to hold the position under load. And it requires a bike fit that allows the position to be reached without compressing the lungs or overloading the lower back. This is the part the industry does not want to talk about. Because flexibility training costs nothing. Core work costs nothing. A bike fit costs €200 and lasts for years. There are 3 distinct riding positions that every road cyclist moves between. Each one has a different CDA. Each one has a different power requirement at the same speed. Most amateur cyclists spend almost all of their time in the least efficient one. Position 1. Hands on the hoods, torso upright. This is how most amateur cyclists ride most of the time. It is comfortable. It is sociable. It costs you roughly 40 watts compared to position 3 at 40 kilometers per hour. Position 2. Hands on the drops, torso lowered. Available on every road bike with drop handlebars. Requires no equipment change. No upgrade. Just moving your hands 15 centimeters downward. Saves between 15 and 20 watts compared to position 1. Position 3. Forearms parallel to the ground, elbows narrow, torso flat. The time trial position. The position used by every professional cyclist for every individual effort against the clock. Saves 20 to 30 watts compared to position 1. 20 to 30 watts. Without buying a single thing. Without changing a single component on your bicycle. Let's put this in terms that mean something on a real ride. On a 40-kilometer time trial at an average power of 250 watts, a rider in position 1 crosses the line in roughly 66 minutes. The same rider. The same power output. The same bicycle. In position 3, they finish in approximately 58 minutes. 8 minutes faster. Without producing a single additional watt. To save 8 minutes by buying equipment instead, you would need to replace every aerodynamic component on a standard road bicycle simultaneously. Frame, wheels, helmet, skin suit, shoe covers. Conservative cost, 6,000 to 10,000 euros. So why doesn't the cycling industry talk about this? The answer is straightforward and slightly uncomfortable. Position is not a product. You cannot sell it. The global cycling equipment market is worth over $8 billion annually. Every major cycling media outlet is funded by advertising from the brands that sell within that market. The incentive to publish, how to get faster without buying anything, is not large. This is not a conspiracy. No one decided to hide this from you. It is simply the natural result of an industry where the people with the most resources to communicate information are the people who benefit most from you not acting on it. The professional peloton has known this for decades. Every Tour de France team has aerodynamic staff whose entire job is optimizing rider position. Not wheel choice. Not frame selection. Position. So what does this mean in practice? If you want to actually use this information, where do you start? The answer is in 3 places. None of them require a credit card. First, ride in the drops. Not occasionally. Not on descents. Not when you feel like it. Start building the habit and the fitness to ride in the drops for extended periods on every flat section of road. Second, work on hip flexibility. 10 minutes of hip flexor and hamstring stretching every day will, over 8 to 12 weeks, allow you to rotate your pelvis forward and lower your torso. This is the limiting factor for most amateur cyclists. Not fitness, not power, flexibility. And it requires no equipment whatsoever. Third, Get a bike fit. Not to buy anything new. To find out if your current bike allows you to reach an aerodynamic position without pain or power loss. A €200 bike fit that identifies a saddle height adjustment or a stem change can unlock the position that saves 23 watts. That is the most cost-efficient performance investment in cycling. The cycling industry will keep selling you grams. New frames, lighter group sets, marginal gains that cost thousands and deliver single-digit watts. And none of that is wrong. But none of it is the fastest free speed in cycling. You already own everything you need to go faster. You just have to be willing to be uncomfortable. Until the next investigation, keep the files open. File closed. Next file. A race from 1904. 5 different winners. And the cheating methods that changed the rulebook forever. The bike files. Subscribe for the next case.